Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online regulation F VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be featuring a really fun team with manual electric terrain from Prankster Thundurus, paired with Iron Leaves, one of the brand new Paradox Pokemon, as well as a special attack booster energy Raging Bolt. Iron Leaves is really underplayed, but it has incredible offensive coverage, and when you pair it with manual electric terrain in particular, it becomes an absolute monster because it first of all gets a Cork Drive attack boost, and second of all, its signature attack, Psyblade, does more damage if the electric terrain is up, so you have a way to get a one-hit knockout onto a lot of common Pokemon in the format. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down in the description below, and thanks so much as always for joining me. If you enjoyed, would really appreciate it if you consider leaving a like in the video or subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a ton. Anyway, let's dive into things. Breaking things down, as always, rental, pace, and team creator are linked down in the description below, and question of the day, I want to know what's one move that you think is currently really underused or underrated in this format. My answer would be Wide Guard. There's just so many spread moves, and I think Wide Guard is really good into the current metagame, but let me know yours down in the comment section below. The first Pokemon to talk about on this team, of course, is Iron Leaves. This is one of the brand new Paradox Pokemon, and it sees a lot less play than all of the other Paradox mons, but I think it has a lot of potential. Grass and Psychic is a fairly unique typing, especially from the physical side, and you just do a lot of damage between Psyblade, Leaf Blade, Close Combat. Psyblade is the signature attack here, and when Electric Terrain is up, you have an increase in power. Now, Electric Terrain is kind of hard to set up, right? It's not like Sun, where you just bring a Torkoal out. So Thundurus here has Electric Terrain to enable it for Iron Leaves. It's really nice because you basically get so much increase in power between Cork Drive as well as Psyblade getting a damage increase, and so when you go for that Electric Terrain, suddenly you turn Psyblade into a move like in 2-hit KO most Pokemon to a move that 1-hit knocks out so many things that essentially don't resist it. This Iron Leaves has Ally Switch as well. You could easily replace this for Protect, but this team was built for the open team sheet environment. It finished with a 6-3 record at the Charlotte Regional Championships, and so that's an open team sheet environment. Seeing Ally Switch on your opponent's team can just create a lot of fear and make them play suboptimally, but Protect, I think, is obviously very consistent here as well. Very straightforward, just max attack, max speed. Base 104 speed is really nice because it means you outspeed everything in the 100 speed tier and lower. So you're outspeeding things like Max Speed Landers Incarnate, Chi-Yu, Urshifu, just to name a couple. And those are all great Pokemon to be able to get the speed bump on. Fire Terra is really nice defensively against opposing fire types, obviously. And this Leaves just can be so oppressive when positioned correctly. Thundurus is the natural partner for it, as I mentioned here, and this has electric terrain, so obviously you're mainly using it to try to enable Leaves, but the combination of Eerie Impulse and Scary Face is also really good, because of course you're able to disrupt opposing teams. I love Eerie Impulse personally. It's able to shut down so many special attackers in the format, and Scary Face just gives you good speed control. That's 100% accurate. You could use Thunder Wave, but of course that move can miss, and electric-type Pokemon are going to be immune to it as well. What's funny about this Thundurus is I find that it's often on the field for so long in a battle, so Wild Bolt Storm is just an incredible attack because you're able to spread paralysis with it. I have games where Thundurus just clicks this like 4 or 5 turns in a row, and eventually you get some paras on key Pokemon, but Scary Face should be your more consistent means of speed control. So the Covert Cloak here is also really nice because it means you can lead something like Thundurus plus Fluttermane, and you suddenly just have 2 Pokemon are immune to Fake Out immediately, and you can just start disrupting your opponent. But Thundurus and Leaves is one of my go-to leads with this team because of course you can just go immediately for electric terrain, and then Leaves just starts dishing out massive amounts of damage. Raging Bolt is the other Pokemon that really capitalizes off the electric terrain here. What I love about this Raging Bolt set is that it just does so much more damage than people expect, because first of all, you're just modest max special attack, you've got a booster energy to give you a special attack boost, and it's electric terrain with Rising Voltage. Rising Voltage is a move that sees very little play because, of course, there aren't that many easy ways to set up electric terrain. There's no Tapu Koko in this game, but when you have Thundurus here, you suddenly turn Raging Bolt into an absolute monster as well, right? So another lead you can go with is just Thundurus Bolt, set up Electric Terrain, Electric Terra, and then Rising Voltage gets one-hit knockouts onto so many different Pokemon in the format as well. Draco Meteor and Thunderclap are obviously the other moves that you're going to want to use. You could use Dragon Pulse over Draco. I think both are fine, but with this amount of burst, I think it's really nice to just threaten things with a one-hit knockout. Comfey is the other Pokemon on this team that's really unique. Of course, Comfey mainly used for its ability to have healing moves, specifically floral healing, which heals your target by 50%. And so this synergizes really, really nicely, especially with Raging Bolt because it's so bulky. I mainly use it to heal up Raging Bolt and Heatran, but I've had games where, I go with Thundurus and Leaves in the early game. Leaves take some damage, I switch it out, get Comfey out, and then get some healing onto it, and just make it really difficult for my opponent to actually knock this Pokemon out. You've also got Synthesis here, which of course allows Comfey to heal up itself, Trick Room, and Draining Kiss. Draining Kiss is actually quite nice offensively. Don't underestimate how much damage this can do, especially into things that you hit for super effective, namely Urshifu. This Comfey in particular can be a really nice counter into both Urshifu forms. With Water Urshifu, they just take so much chip damage thanks to Rocky Helmet, and with Dark Urshifu, which are often Focus Sash, you can switch in Comfey, break their Focus Sash with Rocky Helmet, and then just threaten them with a one-hit knockout with Draining Kiss afterwards. The final two Mons on this team are Fluttermane. This is a very straightforward Fluttermane, max speed, timid, but the main thing to call out here is that you have Manual Taunt. Manual Taunt is something that I think is rising up, and it's really valuable because of how often people are using Farigiraf right now, and having a way to just stop Farigiraf, as well as other things like Amoonguss, for example, and just general setup is really valuable, right? With this taunt, you can also stop things like Sword Stance from Ogerpon, which is quite common in this format right now. Stellar Terror, just to give you a little bit of burst when you're dealing damage. I believe it actually has Dazzling Gleam on this moveset, not Moonblast, but I think both are perfectly acceptable moves. The final Pokemon here is Assault Vest Heatran. AV Heatran actually is in an interesting place in this format because it does resist a lot of common attackers. Farigiraf's usage continues to rise up, and so Heatran can match up quite nicely into that specifically, be able to tank these Hyper Voices and Psychics, and deal good damage in return. It's a pretty bulky AV Heatran, as you can see with Assault Vest, but also maximizes special attack. The main thing to call out here is that you do have Magma Storm. This is a really nice move when it connects. Obviously, it can miss, but when it does connect, of course, it traps and damages your opponent. And this move just does massive amounts of damage. I've had a lot of games where Magma Storm alone does like 80% to something, 90% to something, and then to chip damage finishes it off. So in terms of ways that you can play with the team, I generally first ask myself, like, how much value do I get out of Electric Terrain? Is Thundurus a good bring? Thundurus is normally a good bring, but you lose a little bit of value if you're going up against things that block priority, right? Whether it be NDD, although you can change the terrain, or for a graph, for example. But with Thundurus, I think the best go-to leads are Thundurus Iron Leaves or Thundurus Raging Bolt, for example. I generally like to have Comfey in the back, but you could, of course, lead Comfey and just pressure with Trick Room immediately. But with no Fake Out or redirection support, not that easy to guarantee that you get Trick Room set up, for example. Flutter can be a really oppressive lead immediately, especially because of Taunt. Like, Thunderous Flutter is also effective because of the combo of Covert Cloak and the Ghost typing here, and so it means against teams with a lot of Fake Out users like Incineroar and Rillaboom, this can put on some pressure as well. But I think like Leaves and Raging Bolt just do so much damage, so I generally try to index on these a little bit more heavily. Heatran I think is better as a switch-in option, but of course if you find teams where you think an early Magma Storm can be really valuable, this can be a strong bring. Could be valuable into things that have Focus Sash as well, for example, and can't tank attack super well, like Chien-Pao, and you can threaten it with a knockout immediately. But Magma Storm is a high variance move because it only is 75% accurate, so be very careful when you use it. And so, I mean, generally the game plan is to obviously just burst your opponent with damage, ideally with something like Leaves or Bolt, because both of these capitalize from Electric Terrain, but you can go for an angle where you set up Trick Room. Like, I've had games where I set up Trick Room and Comfey plus Heatran, it just sweeps my opponent under Trick Room, so that's one other mode to consider as well. But yeah, that's it for a breakdown. In terms of weaknesses, I know the original team creator mentioned that they had struggled a little bit against Farigiraf and Blood Moon Ursaluna at the Charlotte Regional Championships. That duo has been rising in usage, and it makes sense as to why it has a good matchup into this, because Farigiraf blocks Thundurus's priority move, so being able to deny that Eerie Impulse, of course, can be fairly annoying. You also, of course, can do so much damage with Blood Moon Ursaluna. Like, Hyper Voice is going to be close, if not a 2-hit knockout onto almost everything. Heatran resisted, but obviously it's going to be weak to Earth Power and can't protect itself in front of it as well. So I think Blood Moon Ursaluna plus Farigiraf can be a tough duo to break through. I think Chien-Pao is also not the easiest Pokemon to fight against with this team, because you just pressure everything with really good damage. You do have ways to pressure Chien-Pao, right? Magma Storm on Heatran, Draining Kiss from Comfey, as well as the Thunderclap from Raging Bolt, but I think a really well-played Chien-Pao can definitely put in a lot of work against this team. Against Iron Leaves specifically, Intimidate goes a really long way. It turns it into a Pokemon that can nuke things and get one-hit knockouts into something that struggles a little bit more. I think the fact that this Iron Leaves in particular doesn't have Protect is something that you can take advantage of. Other things that I don't love fighting against when bringing Leaves out is, for example, things that threaten with super effective damage. Bug is actually really good because you're Grass and Psychic. So Choice Scarf Urshifu with U-Turn, for example, or just Dark Urshifu with Wicked Blow. Both of those can be fairly scary for Leaves as well. Thundurus is a Pokemon that can feel very strong in a lot of situations, but when Wild Bolt Storm isn't doing much damage, it often does force a switch, right? So when you're going up against Ground-type Pokemon or other Electric types, Thundurus can get caught into a pretty compromising position, and if you're going up against it, you can take advantage of it. I think a lot of the times with this team as well, like I've had games where I'm like, oh, you know, Leaves and Raging Bolt are going to do most of the damage, but then they go down really early, and then I'm just stuck with a bunch of support options. Like Thundurus and Comfey, these two really don't do much damage. I had one game where I had Thundurus, Comfey, Leaves, Heatran, had a huge early lead, lost Leaves, and then just basically actually could not do enough damage with the remaining Pokemon. So be really careful, right? If you are trying to make sure you do enough damage, like it's good to have a combo of Leaves, Raging Bolt, and Flutter Mane. Heatran is a decent damage dealer as well, but it's not something that will often pick up like huge one-hit knockouts unless it's like Heavy Slam into Flutter Mane, for example, or Magma Storm into something that's weak to fire. So just be careful about that, because that's how I've lost with this team as well. But yeah, those are just a couple of things I wanted to mention. We got Flutter Entei, Torn, Urshifu, Landorus, as well as Ogerpon. I think this could be a really good game for Thundurus and Leaves. There's no Intimidate, which is a good start. I think Leaves has one-hit KO pressure onto practically their entire team, which is awesome. And Eerie Impulse and Scary Face is good for us here as well. So I like Thundurus, Leaves, Comfey for sure. Landers is a little bit spooky, but Bolt is amazing into their team, if not for Landorus. It could be Heatran as a switch in into Tornadus, Entei, as well as Flutter, though. And it could just be Flutter as well. I don't love Flutter, though. So between Bolt and Heatran. I think I like Bolt a little bit more here, since I'm going to be setting up terrain, and Rising Voltage / Thunderclap is just really good in terrain. I think my problem with Heatran is that it's just going to be slower for the most part, and it can't protect either, leaving it a lot more exposed. Urshifu, Flutter, okay. Booster, speed, or special attack? Speed. We can use Comfey offensively here into Urshifu, which is kind of cool. Like, I personally want to switch Leaves out into Comfey. And Scary Face, I think. Well, I don't hate Wild Bolt Storm either, because it breaks Sash. They just might aggressively target down Thundurus here. But, okay, I'm down to start this with a Wild Bolt Storm, switch into Comfey. And then I think probably turn 2 is Electric Terrain, Draining Kiss. And then go from there. I just want to break Focus Sash on Urshifu. Yep, they go for Icy Wind. Makes sense. Could just be Wicked Blow on a Thundurus, though, so let's see. Okay, it's not. Nice. Perfect. It would be really risky to leave Leaves out, right, and ignore it, so figured that would be the play they'd make. Wild Bolt is going to miss on Urshifu, but that's fine. Sash was broken anyway, actually, because of Rocky Helmet, so not that much of an issue. You get a Paralysis, so that makes up for the miss. It's quite lucky. This is amazing, I think, actually, now for the Leaves. So I'm happy to just go for Electric Terrain to set up Leaves, and Draining Kiss onto Urshifu. Oh, wow. They don't protect or switch Urshifu out, so Comfey just gets a one-hit knockout. Let's go, Comfey. Nice. These are like the two biggest threats to the Leaves right now, so the fact that we are already disrupting them this early on is very, very good. So terrain gets set up. And they just Moonblast Comfey. Yep. Perfect. Yeah, Comfey is kind of a unique option, but its matchup into Dark Urshifu, which is a Pokemon that's been rising in popularity significantly, is really, really, really valuable. So Landorus comes out, that's no problem. I'm happy to just go for Eerie Impulse now onto this. I'm in kind of a weird spot where I'd really like to get Leaves out safely. So I think going for Eerie Impulse onto this and just Fluoro Healing to get Thundurus back up is fine. Like, I want them to knock out the Comfey so that Leaves can just come out and start dealing damage. It's like, they're really disrupted right now, right? It's like, you're -2 special attack with Landorus. Flutter's caught in a bad spot as well. Yeah, for Sludge Bomb on a Comfey. It gets the knockout, but that's what we're looking for. If I switch out into Leaves there, I just eat up a super effective Sludge Bomb, which feels bad. And they get parried here, but you're not really doing anything meaningful, I think, other than maybe getting some chip with Moonblast. So let's bring Leaves out now. Cool. There's Cork Drive. With the Paralysis, you have no switch into Psychic type attacks anymore, so we can just leverage that. Just double checking the speed stat here. 340. Yeah, so we'll outpace Flutter now. I mean, Landorus should switch here. Like, both Pokemon are in bad shape, right? But if I were them, I'd probably protect Flutter, switch Landorus out. I'm happy to just Eerie Impulse this. And Psyblade into Landorus. Yep, there's the pivot. But like I said, you have no Psyblade switching at this point since Urshifu was knocked out. So that's Tornadus. That's fine. Sash Torn is going to be their best hope right now. And with this being special attack booster Flutter, or sorry, speed booster Flutter, I'm not worried about a Shadow Ball from their end. If you're not Sash here, the game's just over off this, I think. Nice. Yeah, I think Leaves just gets 3 knockouts now. Torn Feints. We have our Life Orb chip. And they just go for Icy Wind, which is fine. Yep. It's essentially no damage. Great. So now you bring Landorus back out. Got Raging Bolt as my last one. I can just go for Scary Face onto this. What do I actually... How do I want to close this out? Let's think about this. 2 turns of Electric Terrain. At -1 speed. Personally think it's fine to just Scary Face and Psyblade, but Landorus could obviously protect. Scary Face into this and just knock out Flutter is also fine, I think. But Flutter could protect, and then they could like they could actually get a one-hit knockout onto Leaves. So I'm gonna just double up on Landorus. Okay, here's the Terra. Any Terra is fine here, though, honestly, right? Because I would expect you to be something like Steel Terra, something that resists Psychic. Oh, that is not helpful for them. Okay, it's Poison Terra. Well, we just dropped your speed now. Cool. Flutter was presumably going for an Icy Wind there, but the Leaves should have still outspeed Landorus here. Yeah, so... And even... I mean, yeah, Landorus should never outpace us there, right? Because of our speed stat. We're max speed here, so like I think the only thing that could help them there is to get a Shadow Ball critical hit onto Iron Leaves. But, yeah. Just go for another Scary Face here, and then Psyblade. So one of the things about this team is you're going to often put yourself in chances to get lucky with Wild Bolt Storm since you're clicking it so many times, and then like a single Paralysis on a fast Pokemon can be a game changer. So it was very lucky that we got that early speed drop and just got Leaves out to a point where it could basically sweep my opponent. One just quick note about that end game, I think there are a couple of different ways I could have played it. I didn't go for a Terra there, so I think the one thing that I opened myself up to in terms of risks is a Flutter Mane Shadow Ball critical hit onto Iron Leaves. So if I could actually replay that turn, I think it's better to just Terra the Iron Leaves because the Flutter Mane's damage should just be non-significant from Moonblast, Shadow Ball, Icy Wind. And we know that we outpace Landorus as well, right? I could have also gone Scary Face onto the Flutter Mane and then just target down Landorus, but I figured getting a Scary Face on Landorus there would have been great because then it means that the Raging Bolt in the back will just be able to outpace you, right? The only thing I was worried about in that spot is Landorus going for a defensive Terra that allows you to resist Psyblade. but fortunately they were Poison Terra. Most Landresses are Poison Terra, but I have run up against Steel Terra Landresses before. That could have been a little bit more annoying to deal with, but with that scary face, it means that Raging Bolt just comes out and we'll be able to outpace our opponent and put on enough KO pressure onto both slots. But didn't even get to that point. Leaves was able to just secure the deal there. So one of the nice things about Leaves is that it is base 104 speed. This Iron Leaves is max speed, and so you obviously will outpace the opposing Landresses, and that's a really nice benchmark to hit since there are a lot of Pokemon in the base 100 speed tier range and below. Landorus obviously is a little bit higher at 101, but yeah, I'm really happy to have a good showcase of Iron Leaves in that one. This is a really cool team. Archaladon, Mouse, Ogre, not Flutter, Latias, Comfey, and Amoonguss. Can't believe the one time we use Comfey, we actually go up against an opposing Comfey. What are the odds of that? A lot of healing here. Amoonguss, Pollen Puff, Latias, Recover, Comfey with their healing as well. How good is Leaves here? I think it should be incredible, right? The main thing is Latias walls it. What are our best Latias answers? We can Eerie Impulse it. I think Flutter with Taunt probably is really good in this matchup. Could even be worth leading. I'm mainly curious about what Terra Archaladon is. I don't know if I really want to bring my own Comfey as well. I think I'm down to start with Thundurus plus Leaves, Flutter in the back. And I kind of like the idea of just going with a lot of damage with Raging Bolt here. Comfey could be fun. I just don't know if I really need that much healing. Yeah, like I feel like Electric Terra Bolt can just do a lot. Leaves is really powerful as well. I would love to see any combination of like Ogre Palm, Mouse Hold, Amoonguss, or Archaladon, because Leaves has an incredible matchup into all of those. I think it's like if Latias gets led, Leaves is going to be in a slightly tougher spot just because it can't do much into that slot specifically. But against Latias or Archaladon, honestly, this isn't too bad. Like, I think my opponent's in a weird space, right? Because I think Archaladon here probably should Terra or switch out. The play I really want to make is to just go straight for Electric Terrain and then close combat into this. There's no close combat switching really. But it might be better to play a little bit defensively first. Alright, I'm Electric Terrain close combat. Let's see if they Terra. No Terra, okay. Could be max speed Latias Tailwind into a Draco from Archaladon though. But it would be so satisfying to get a one-hit knockout right now. Nope, they just missed ball. Oh, beautiful. So they don't even target the Iron Leaves. Cool. Ooh, Archaladon survives though. Clutch. Let's see if they went for Draco Meteor. They did. Alright, now we have a game. I didn't really know what the damage roll on that is. Looks like a roll. Curious how many times we actually secure a one-hit knockout. That's okay though, because it is now a free switching into Flutter main, which is obviously quite good for us. Flutter comes out. I think I'd prefer to conserve Leaves here though, honestly. And like, we're in a good spot to just Dazzling Gleam. Latias, as you saw, is max speed, or at least faster than Leaves. They could Tailwind is the thing here. So I could Taunt. Maybe I don't need to conserve. I also I'm not sure Leaves actually faints here, right? Especially if their moveset is Mist Ball, Tailwind, Recover, like Icy Wind. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm actually down to just Psyblade and Dazzle right now. Okay, Archaladon switches, which makes sense. Very clutch survival. That game, I think, this game, I'm like in such good shape if we just get that knockout on turn 1. So it was worth taking the chance, and we were so close. Alright, they go for a Terra here. What are you Terraing into? Because now Psyblade does neutral damage, very likely. Nope. That is the one Terra that helps against both. Or both of these. Okay, nice. Steel Terra Latios. But that means now Raging Bolt's going to be quite good into them. So that's fine. That did a disgusting amount of Comfey. Yeah, that was a crit. Healing Wish. Whoa. That is a really cool strategy. Okay. I feel better about the crit now since Psyblade would have knocked out Comfey anyway without the crit, I think. Alright, we'll see how much value they get out of this Healing Wish. Because they had to commit a Terra just to get that off, right? I don't think they needed to Terra there, honestly. But I guess they were worried about, like, Specs Flutter, Moonblast, which would be fair. So, very nice way to heal up our Chaladon, but is it worth it in the end is my question. Because you don't have the speed advantage right now. Okay. I mean, I don't think Ogre should be able to knock us out here, and you just Terra'd. So I feel like it's fine to just Dazzling Gleam here and close combat. I don't want to Fire Terra this. I could Stellar Terra this, but I don't think that's that valuable. Electric Terra in the back with Bolt feels pretty good, and this is probably Assault Vest or Chaladon, so I'm happy to just close combat Gleam. And Major Spiky Shield, yeah. It was a cool use of Healing Wish. I just don't think... like, Healing Wish is a move that you lose so many resources for, right? If they didn't Terra, I think that they would have been in a much better spot, because you could... Oh! I do give our Chaladon the stamina boost here. But I think it's still fine, because we're not going to get a KO, but you either bring Flutter down to 1 HP, us being sashed here is a really big deal, or you knock out Leaves, and I get a free switch into the Raging Bolt. And then with Raging Bolt, like, I could just, like, Terra either Flutter or Bolt. But, yeah, it's Heavy Slam, but we're Sash here, which is going to be perfect for us. Excellent. Okay, great. Yeah, so another Gleam should just finish it off. Might as well Stellar Terra here, right? No reason to Terra Leaves. Don't really need a Terra this. Flutter is always faster, just guarantees the knockout onto our Chaladon. Psyblade. Yeah, they end up forfeiting. Alright, really interesting game. I have not seen Healing Wish Latios. I think it's a really, really cool strategy, and I think if... the Steel Terra made a lot of sense, because essentially they wanted to go all in and make sure our Chaladon was healed up, but the problem is that Leaves was still just so healthy. And they have a lot of healing on this team, but they didn't have too many opportunities to really go for much other than that Healing Wish, and Healing Wish is just a big move, right, because you sacrifice so much in order to get it off. But, yeah. Scary game just because Leaves fail to get that knockout on turn 1, but Flutter plus Leaves is just so oppressive, and once the Electric Terrain is set up, there are like very few things that can reliably switch into it, right? So, yeah, but really cool to see Latios being used that way. Alright, we've got Flutter Urshifu, Frigoraph Ogre, Entei, and Blood Moon. Frigoraph Blood Moon is kind of like the new duo to beat. A lot of people have been using it recently, and it's very, very strong. Wonder if I can do anything fun with Comfey in this one. Flutter has Taunt here, which is nice into Frigoraph. Wild Bolt Storm is pretty disruptive. Bolt loses some effectiveness here, since it's Electric Terra, really weak into Blood Moon. I kind of want to lead the Flutter main, just for Taunt into Frigoraph. Thundurus is a weird one here. I think Frigoraph invalidates it a lot, but still not awful to bring. Okay, honestly, I think Thundurus Electric Terra this is interesting. Leaves in the back. I'm kind of feeling Comfey here. I think Flutter also makes sense for Taunt into Frigoraph, but I think my problem with Flutter is I'm only really bringing it for one specific move in one turn, and Flutter can so easily go down in this matchup. So it can very easily be dead weight in this battle, whereas Comfey I think will guarantee me some value. Entei and Frigoraph. Okay. I don't mind this too much, I think. I personally want to go just all in here. Electric Terrain, Terra, and Rising Voltage. The amount of multipliers this gives us onto Feargraph is absolutely ridiculous, right? We get booster energy, we have electric terrain, rising voltage's damage increases as well. Entei's probably going to want to click Snarl here, though, so my fear is then with that we don't get the knockout. But the thing is, if Feargraph faints, it just opens Thundurus up completely in this battle, right? I can start going for all of our priority moves. So let's see. Oh, alright, that's fine. That is totally fine. I mean, if you're going for that, my guess then is that you are Choice Band Entei, right? You're gonna go for Sacred Fire. That's fine. Do you even KO though? Oh my gosh, that did nothing. This is such a powerful combo now. So Electric Terrain boosted. Feargraph is gonna just eat up a one-hit knockout. Perfect. And now we have just a really powerful Thunderclap, right? We've got the Electric Terra, the Terrain, as well as the booster energy. It's just a ridiculous amount of boosts all at one. They bring up Blood Moon, which is totally fine. If you're going to bring that out, I think I'm okay just going for an Eerie Impulse here onto it. Decrease your damage output. That's your only electric resistance / immunity. So I'm just going to go for Voltage now onto the Entei slot. Ideally, Entei stays in here. We get a one-hit knockout onto Entei, and then my opponent's stuck with -2 Blood Moon for the rest of the game. But, yeah, that's why I wanted to prioritize knocking out Feargraph so much, and it helps that they tried to go all in on knocking out Thundurus. And one of my favorite things about this set is that you just catch your opponents off guard, right? Could be a Terra here from Entei, though, but it's going to be on Blood Moon. Okay. Into normal, but I'm okay with that. Like, by going for normal Terra, that means that I can now hit you for super effective, or not super effective. I can now hit you with my electric type attacks, right? So, Eerie Impulse here is going to be so nice to just shut down Blood Moon's damage output. Yep, they go for Stomping, which is fine. Stomping Hyper Voice makes sense. I could have gone for Thunderclap there, by the way, but I wanted to go for Voltage just because Entei could switch out in that position, could go for Extreme Speed as well. We get a critical hit, but I don't think that really matters. Cool. Should be Hyper Voice here, right? Yep. Ideally, Thundurus faints, so I just get... Well, actually, I mean, Thundurus not fainting is also fine, because I just get to disrupt whatever their last Pokemon is here. What's that going to be? Ogerpon? Okay, works for me. Scary Face into this, and I think just Protect this turn is fine. How many turns of Terrain do I have left? 3. I don't need to Protect here, right? Scary Face you. Actually, what is the best action here? So they could follow me, right? Which is why I want a Scary Face. I think Scary Face and Protect here is fine, because we want to bait a Protect or a Spiky Shield from one of these two, right? Thundurus fainting is fine. I guess their best play here would be to Protect Ogerpon and then just finish off Thundurus, but then I get a free switch into Iron Leaves, right? And Ogerpon can't Terra at this point either, so I shouldn't feel super threatened by them. So here's the Protect from Bolt. There's the Scary Face. Cool, that should secure us the game, I think. I could have just attacked here, but I wanted to ideally see a Spiky Shield or a Protect from their end. Thundurus faints. There, they go for Blood Moon. Great, so now you can't even go for that next turn. And now it's Iron Leaves time. I guess I could also bring out Comfey first and just heal the Raging Bolt, but I want to get Leaves out while Electric Terrain is still up. Since we have the speed advantage, we should be able to just win the game and don't necessarily need to go for healing right now. There's our attack increase. 2 turns of Electric Terrain, which is perfect, so we can just close combat into you and Rising Voltage into you. Okay, I mean, it should just be a double Protect here, and then you go for another double Protect, but we have exactly enough turns of Terrain where not too worried. They don't protect the Blood Moon, so that's just a one-hit knockout. Beautiful. I mean, I think this game was essentially one off turn 1, right? Like, Feargraph, in my opinion, is such a big piece of their team, and that's why I wanted to prioritize knocking it out. So, could have been a little bit ugly if they had Protect and went for it on turn 1, but I think most of the times players are not expecting the Furgraph to get sniped down the way it went down in that game. So, voltage into the Ogre Pawn, and now we will just go for Psyblade here, and voltage. Yeah. So this game highlights the combination of Thundurus plus the Raging Bolt, right? We were able to just set up Electric Terrain and start dealing massive amounts of damage with Rising Voltage. Rising Voltage is not a move that people generally expect to see on Raging Bolt because you don't normally see manual Electric Terrain, which is why it's something that people generally underestimate. Most bolts use, I feel like, a kind of defensive Terra as well, but this one being Electric Terra just elevates our damage output and allows us to just get so many damage modifiers that our opponents aren't going to expect, which is one of the main reasons to use this kind of set. Alright, we've got the Dondozo team that got second at Portland Regionals. Chimpao, Dragonite. I feel like my win rate against Dozo has been so bad. Like these new versions of Dozo. Because, like, it's just tricky. So, Glamora, Grass Ogre, Dozo Tatsu. They're normally Grass Terra, right? So with Grass Terra, I mean, Thundurus can be pretty disruptive. Comfey for healing is what I'm really thinking about in this one. But there's so many leads, right? Like Dragonite Champao, Glamora Champao. I'm really worried about Champao lead, actually. Wow, Champao lead is a really big problem. And that's just Champao in a vacuum, not let alone everything else. Because I can't go for priority moves with it, with Thundurus. Okay, I'm still going to go Thundurus leaves. I want Comfey in this one for sure. Should it be Heatran? I'm bringing Heatran because I'm like, if I can force Dondozo to Grass Terra, Heatran becomes really solid with Magma Storm and Heat Wave. But it takes a lot of work to get there, right? Because I'd have to Scary Face Dondozo twice, probably, because they're probably max speed, right? How much speed does this Heatran have again? I'm double checking. 44 speed EVs. Yeah, Glamora Champao. Good lead by them. If I were them, I'm clicking Spiky Shield here on turn 1 and Icicle Crash into one of these. Okay, I mean, I think I basically want to make a big play here. But I would commit so many resources to do this. Okay, I'm going to make the read, let Glamora Spiky Shields, and then they Icicle Crash Thundurus. So what I do in return is Close Combat Champao, but not commit my Terra, because I want to save it for Heatran. I mean, yeah, like, this is the tricky thing about playing against Dozo teams. They might not even have Dozo in the back, but I'm already thinking, like, 4 turns ahead and thinking about how I deal with Dozo. And if, like, I commit too many resources early on, I just can't deal with Dozo. But I did not get that even remotely correctly. They just Ice Spinner into leaves. Oy. And then Meteor Beam into... Nicely done. Because the play I wanted to make was, like, Electric Terrain and then just Psyblade and Fire Terra, Psyblade, Glamora. So I really thought they would prioritize knocking out Thundurus there. Comfey dodges it, which is lucky. It gives us a fighting chance, I guess, but it's looking doomed, honestly. This lead just completely crushed me. But I had a pretty good play, like, because if I just defensively Terra there and Psyblade into Glamora, that's actually a really solid turn 1 for me. So I thought they would be doubling up into something, or that they would protect and then, like, because I think protect and go for an ice type attack into Thundurus is pretty safe. It's actually what I would have done, I think, if I were in my opponent's shoes, but they just completely outplayed me. I'm trying to think, even with that miss, I think I still probably lose this, but what do I do? Man, Glamora is so good into our team, actually. as is Chien-Pao, because Chien-Pao hits almost everything for super effective. Maybe leading Comfey would have been the move here. I think I just needed a Fire Terra turn 1, I guess. With the, But, so, the reason I didn't want a Terra was because I was like, if they have Dozo Tatsu in the back, I need to save my Terra for Heatran. That was the whole point of bringing it in the game, right? So, made a prediction. It did not pay off. But, let's see what we can do from here. I haven't even Terra'd yet. Alright, I'm gonna hope they Sludge Bomb this slot. I Terra and then Earth Power to KO Glamora. Ugh. I just don't have enough offense, honestly. Leaves was so much of the offense in this game. Yeah, like I was caught in a bad lead and made a hard read and it didn't work out. That's okay, you know, happens. What's my best lead against Chien-Pao Glamora with this team? I think Leaves is my best bet of beating Glamora, so I just needed to Terra that. But Thundurus sucks against Chien-Pao, so it would need to be something over Thundurus. Chien-Pao does protect here, though. Okay, so I at least should get the KO onto Glamora. Oh, never mind. They just Spiky Shield. I mean, I can... Scary Face Earth Power now, but they can just Ice Spinner. Man, it's the fact they were Spinner as well. If I had just switched the other way around, I would have been able to break Chien-Pao's Sash, which would have been nice. Scary Face Glamora. I think Glamora just Terras here, but if they don't respect Scary Face, maybe I at least... Okay, they didn't. You know, hey, I got a knockout. We are max HP, max defense. Did we survive this? 4 HP. Okay. Well, we have a shot. But we're only in this because they missed Meteor Beam. If that Meteor Beam hits, I think the game's just over immediately. They should have just won the game on turn 1. But that's the power of these Dozo comps. Like, I didn't make a safe Terra with the Leaves because I was thinking about conserving Terra to deal with Dozo. And Dozo does finally hit the field, but I think it's a little too late for me. If I were them, I would protect Dozo attack with Chien-Pao here. So I'm going to switch into Comfey right now. And Heat Wave. This is actually still winnable. But if they just commit to Dozo immediately right now, I think I'm probably done for. Like if they switch Chien-Pao into Tatsu and then just Wave Crash into Heatran. But basically here I'm hoping that they protect Dozo, try to Ice Spinner Thundurus, Ice Switch and Comfey, Rocky Helmet knocks out Chien-Pao with Heat Wave. But they make the switch. Yeah, nicely done. I think with that, unless I survive Wave Crash, this is probably over. Unless they Terra the Dozo here and it turns out to be Grass Terra. But I would assume Wave Crash just knocks us out. I don't know. Let's see. I think my opponent played this game pretty much perfectly. I guess the turn I knocked out Glamora, they could have attacked there. If they go for Order Up onto Comfey, that also gives me a chance. Okay. Alright, not out of it yet. I mean, now the hope is we survive Wave Crash. Okay, so they're not lefties. It's probably the Rocky Helmet set, right? So, I can Trick Room right now. And Magma Storm. Does this one-shot us? Yeah, okay. This wasn't even a viable solution then. Oh, I wonder what the damage roll is on that. I want to do that after this game. Yeah, Dozo's just too strong. What did I need against Dozo? I guess conserve Leaves, right? But the thing is, Leaves also... If I Fire Terra, I become weak to Wave Crash and Earthquake. I don't think Dozo is an easy matchup for this team, but I also, like, didn't lead super well. I want to brainstorm some leads after this game, because I can't really see a very easy solution right now immediately. One in which, like, if I commit my Terra early, how do I beat Dozo in the end game is basically what I'm thinking about. Anyway, we at least get Trick Room up. The win condition is... Crazily enough, it's actually still possible to win this, but I need to hit Wild Bolt Storm and I need to paralyze Dozo right now. So We heal back up. The odds are incredibly slim. I could also crit the Dozo. That's the other option. Oh, it's actually pretty good damage. Well, yeah, but they just wave crash. And wait, Comfey could actually low-key theoretically still win this. But I'm just sure Draining Kiss is not going to knock that out. Yeah, because like Comfey, I think I could actually beat both Tatsu and Champao. Because Champao would eat up Rocky Helmet damage by attacking Comfey. Oh, so sad. Yeah, they were Rocky Helmet. Yeah, Dozo's just too strong. I want to think of some game plans, because this is my first time playing against Dozo with this team specifically, and like the team that we're up against is just one of the best Dozo teams. Like I think if you want to use Dozo in this format, that should be where you start for inspiration. So I want to quickly brainstorm how I would like play this again. Since I even like Champao Glamora is a lead I mentioned, right? And it is one of the best leads with this team. So let's go to the drawing board real quick. So first, just wanted to show some damage calcs. If it's Jolly Max Attack Dozo, which is what a lot of players are using, then actually Heatran survives in almost every scenario except for one of the damage calcs. So 6.3% chance to get a one-hit knockout. So if you are thinking about the Dozo matchup, it actually I think could be really valuable to guarantee this survival by moving some EVs into defense. Obviously, if this becomes Admin Dozo, then it changes things pretty significantly, where it's a much better chance to get the one-hit knockout, but Heatran could survive in that spot. Had Heatran survived, I think this game would look pretty differently, but once again, like I was only in that spot to begin with because they missed that Meteor Beam onto the Comfey, right? And so, like the reality is that I was outled and then outplayed on turn 1 as well. I was trying to think about things that I could have done differently. I think one thing is I just assumed they had Ice Skull Crash, but Spinner is kind of the standard on most Champaos, and so could have considered even just staying with Thundurus. I think alternative leads to think about are things like Thundurus plus... Thundurus and Raging Bolt is interesting just because I like have a lot of offensive pressure immediately. I could maybe drop Heatran and go a mode with like Thundurus, Bolt, Comfey plus Iron Leaves, for example. In my head, I just felt like I needed to bring Heatran because I was like, okay, if they grass Terra the Dondozo, then I've got nothing for it basically other than Heatran. But they didn't end up even going for Terra, right? But that last game, it actually felt like there were ways to win. I think the other tricky thing is that the normal version of that team has Rocky Helmet, so that's what my opponent ended up using. But if it's the Leftovers variant, and if it's a different Terra, then the game is also very, very hard. And you have to take like a very different line of play to go up against it. So yeah, I think Dozo is exceptionally strong in best of one. And you know, I should have made a couple of more like good decisions or calculated guesses. But basically, I think like with the lead that I had, I could have obviously just gone Fire Terra and just Psyblade knockout turn 1. If I were to replay turn 1, like maybe it's worth it to just actually stay in Wild Bolt Storm and Psyblade, right? But Glamora could obviously Spiky Shield in that position, which was what I was worried about. If they have Ice Skull Crash, for example, I end up going for Fire Terra, and then they just knock out Thundurus. It's a complete disaster. So high volatility, and I think the combination of Champao and Glamora is so scary because they have so much offense. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't see a really consistent lead that can beat the combination of Champao and Glamora just by itself, right? Like, I have to make some educated guesses and try to make some predictions. And that's what I tried to do in the game. Didn't work out, but I have no regrets. Alright, we've got Torn Flutter, Chiyu, Hands, Ogre, and Gouging Fire. It's interesting how many Gouging Fires I feel like have popped up on ladder recently. A lot of hyper offense. Thundurus Leaves is pretty interesting. I mean, Leaves can one-hit KO almost their whole team. It basically can, right? In terrain. Maybe other than Gouging Fire, if it's super bulky. I like Heatran because I think it's a really good Gouging Fire check. Bolt or Comfey? Comfey is interesting. Yeah, it gives me the Trick Room angle. Yeah, I want to bring Comfey here. Let's try it. I think Bolt offers a lot more offense, but Comfey gives us more defense, and I think like Comfey and Heatran is a pretty nice pair in this matchup. See if that actually ends up being the case. But Leaves with Electric Terrain support early, I think, can be deadly. Gouging and Ogre Pawn. Okay. Booster energy, speed. Yep. Okay. This could Breaking Swipe, which I think is probably the thing I'm most worried about. You could just Terra this. I could Scary Face, but that means no electric terrain to start, right? Which doesn't feel great. This could also just Heat Crash, Howl. Okay, honestly, I'm going to try this. Electric Terrain, Terra, and just Psyblade into Ogre. This is risky. It is very risky, but I don't think I'm in that good shape to start here, so I'm willing to take a risk. It's a question of whether or not they click Breaking Swipe, Howl, or Heat Crash, right? You could also go for Burning Bulwark, although I'd be surprised by that. So neither Pokemon Protect, Terra, or Switch. Okay. Don't mind that then, I think. Like, I really want to one-shot Ogerpon here. That's my dream right now. Okay, nice. How fast is Ogerpon now, though, is the question. How bulky is it? Yep, we get Psyblade off. Nice. That worked. Okay, sweet. Sometimes you kind of just have to make some big plays there. I figured, like, you're probably, with Ogerpon, not going to target down Leaves, and I think some players would expect Leaves to actually protect in that situation. Alright, Hands comes out now, so you have Fake Out Pressure with that. You actually get Quark Drive activated as well, so it's rare to see Iron Hands have that attack boost, but they will indeed get it here. This isn't really that scary. You should probably Fake Out into Leaves here, right? I can go for Scary Face onto Gouging Fire. Personally, I think it makes sense for them to Fake Out Leaves and then go for Breaking Swipe. I'm going to switch into Comfey. Because right now, there are a couple things. I want to bait out Iron Hands Terra, ideally. I want to start slowing them down. Yep. Nice. Now you eat up Rocky Helmet damage. Which is nice. We get Scary Face off, which is also nice. Beautiful. Okay, good. Good, good. This is where things get interesting, because I have very little damage with this duo right now. Hands is a little bit spooky. I think Heatran probably should be faster than it. What's our Heatran EV spread here? 44 speed. I think I personally don't mind Scary Face again onto Gouging Fire and then just Draining Kiss onto Iron Hands. Okay, not bad. The idea behind going for another Scary Face on a Gouging Fire is to let Heatran outpace it. This could be something like Howl now. Yeah. But it's okay because I'm waiting for the free switch in into... back out into Iron Leaves. Yeah, Comfey Fainting is fine. Especially with Rocky Helmet, honestly. That goes a long way, too. Maybe I want to go into Heatran first, because it's free Earth Power. I don't know the Terra on hands, though, I think, which is my primary concern here. And Gouging Fire should always lose a 1v1 against Heatran, right? I'll just bring out Leaves. +2 attack. I'm a little bit worried about their last one being Chi-Yu, but we'll see. Wall Bolt Storm here. And Psyblade. Alright, they don't switch, so Psyblade claims another victim here. Now the big question is, what is your final one? Because I was trying to play towards a Heatran endgame. Wall Bolt just for some chip damage. Not bad, honestly. Maybe Breaking Swipe, yeah. Okay. Do you get the attack drock onto leaves? Alright, Flutter's their last one. That's not bad to see. That's really not bad. Okay, that's huge, actually. Last turn of Electric Terrain. I mean, if this is Specs Flutter, I think the game should be won right now. I just don't know if it's Specs. Because I want a Scary Face into Flutter and then switch out into Heatran. The problem with this is if Flutter has Protect. So let's find out. Nice, no Protect. Okay, that's huge. Because that means our Iron Leaf should just be able to come back out and outpace it. Yep, there's Dazzling Gleam. They still haven't Terra'd, but I think the main thing is Gouging Fire is in a really tough spot. 170 now to 43, yeah. Cool. I could have just stayed in there, but I guess it maybe is just worth staying in there, because if you... Well, I wasn't sure Breaking Swipe was going to knock out Thundurus. I guess that was my main question mark. I'm happy to just Leaf Blade now into Flutter. It could be Grass Terra, right? They haven't Terra'd yet. Leaf Blade. Do I want to click Heat Wave instead then? I mean, you do so little damage with Gouging Fire. Like, I don't think I really need to care about that. So we just need to secure the knockout onto Flutter. I'll go for Heavy Slam here. Oh, okay. They just ended up forfeiting. Cool. I think it was worth playing out one more turn just because I don't know what the Flutter set was, but I'm guessing they were Specs, and so we get the guaranteed knockout onto that. I think otherwise you don't forfeit there. That's an Indeedee male. Interesting. Whimsicott, Chiyu, Flutter, Urshifu, Flutter, Indeedee. Normally when you see Indeedee male, you should assume, like, Imprison Trick Room. I think I'm mainly debating how good my own Flutter is here. I want Thundurus, Leaves, Comfey, Heatran, I think. I think Bolt could be really solid here with Electric Terra. I'm bringing Comfey mainly because of Urshifu on the opposing side, right? Thundurus Leaves is really bad into Dark Urshifu, so then the Comfey in the back neutralizes it a little bit. Because the play you make essentially is just switch Leaves out immediately into Comfey. Whimsicott Urshifu. And there's Dark Urshifu. Yep, so this is exactly why I brought Comfey. What do I even want to do, though, with Thundurus? I think I'm happy to just Wild Bolt Storm here. Switch into Comfey. I think it's just always tricky in these spots, because Urshifu could just, like, Dark Terra Wicked Blow Thundurus. They just Tailwind. Okay. No Terra, though, so even if you're Bandit, I think we survive Wicked Blow on either. Perfect. They target Comfey. Okay, nice. Great. So you eat Rocky Helmet. Wild Bolt double connects. Very lucky there. So much damage. Jeez. That was a crit. That explains it. Okay. Draining Kiss onto Urshifu. It's very safe. I think I'm fine to just go for Wild Bolt Storm and Draining Kiss right now. Oh, what's happening here? Oh, it's Poison Ursh. Okay. Nice Terra. Oh, that's a problem for Comfey. Oh, man, that's so sad. Instead of being super effective at getting the knockout, it survives. Very nice play. Moonblast, Wicked Blow, double up Thundy. Does that KO? I think it does. Excellent Poison Terra just to survive. That was really nicely done. And, you know, it's not a crazy Terra to see from Urshifu, but definitely makes this more challenging. Okay. And the problem with that is I actually could have set up Trick Room that turn instead. I don't know if Draining Kiss gets the knockout onto this is the problem. But I think I want to Terra here, Heat Wave, and Trick Room. I think I should have just clicked Trick Room last turn, but I got greedy thinking, hey, Comfey just gets this knockout. Yeah, I think I should have considered Trick Room a little bit more. I just didn't really think about Poison Terra specifically. Oh, pain. Oh, they have Endeavor. Yeah, I think in this game, Trick Room is just so strong that there's very little reason to not be clicking it. Like, the main reason to not click it on turn 2 is fear that Whimsicott is taunt, right? They're going to have Encore here as well. I just know it. I'm already feeling the Encore. The thing is that Leaves and Comfey could actually win if they, depending on their moveset here. Psyblade, they could switch into Chi-Yu. I don't want to be close combating, they'll drop my defenses. Leaf Blade is safe. I shall Leaf Blade and Draining Kiss. Alright, no. Well, actually, even if they had Encore, Draining Kiss's priority is higher, so they could still have Encore here, but let's see. Okay, get 2 knockouts, or get 1 knockout. Ah, man. I just wanted Comfey to get a knockout so badly that I tunnel vision and didn't think about clicking Trick Room there. That's all me. Okay, they just Endeavor, but I can heal most of that back up. The problem is, do you just go out into something that's slower than Leaves now? Yeah, that's slower than Leaves. I didn't expect Endeavor either. It's been a long time since I fought against Endeavor Whimsicott. Because if you don't have Endeavor, Heatran and Comfey actually can sweep. So, a lot of tricks here. But I messed up by not clicking Trick Room, and that's on me. Is this even winnable at this point? With Terrain up, I think it's really hard. Because I can't even Draining Kiss you now. It blocks priority. I'll play towards Leaf Blade critical hit here. And Floral Healing onto Leaves. Yeah, I mean, I think in this game, turn 1 just worked out great. And I... Oh, we are faster. Okay. Crit, special attack drop. That's fine. Flutter's their last one. Wait, if that's like Specs Flutter, we just win, no? Oh, it's Booster Flutter. It's still fine because there's still multiple turns of Trick Room. 2 turns left. Psyblade into you. Floral Healing into you. Because Comfey wins the 1v1 against Whimsicott. So their best play is to protect Flutter here. Their best play is to go for a double protect with Flutter, basically. Was it worth reading in to try to, like, read into the... I don't know. It's like, I win the game 2/3 of the time immediately right now if they don't get a double. Yeah, I think there's no point in playing around the double because I don't have Protect on Leaves. If I had Protect, it'd be a different story. But I'm just going to Psyblade for Roll Healing. And they don't get the double. I can't believe this. Wait. What? So they're in DD. was scarfed? I did not think Leaf Blade would just... I mean, Entity Male has, like, very little bulk, so I'm guessing it was just Scarf Max. Wow. I mean, that's the thing about my opponent's team, right? Like, you have very few Trick Room answers, so the fact we even got here is actually nuts. 2 turns of terrain. Yeah, we just Psyblade now. And Floral Healing again. I can't believe it. I thought the game was done for sure. But the reason I thought that was because NDD Male is 95 base speed, and so I figured you should just outpace Iron Leaves. I expected Focus Sash on it as well, honestly. But Iron Leaves secures just 3 knockouts on their Trick Room. Wow. I mean, that's why you don't give up in this game, but wow. What an unexpected turn of events here. That is not how I expected this game to finish up. Yeah, I think I just needed to think harder about clicking Trick Room, because my opponent's team had so few Trick Room answers. Their best bet would have been NDD Male, like, with the Imprison Trick Room combo. But if I had just clicked Trick Room instead of Draining Kiss against that Urshifu, this game would look completely different. And I mean, I ended up winning, but I should have just thought about clicking Trick Room. I just was like, oh, you know, I bring Comfey out, I get the KO, it's so satisfying. But the other problem is they could have switched Whimsicott in for NDD to also block the Draining Kiss, and so it's always better to click Trick Room in that. Well, when I say always, I mean, I guess Whimsicott theoretically could have Taunt. But if you taunt me, like, Wicked Blow isn't going to knock out Thundurus anyway, and then you just feint to Wild Bolt Storm. So I think it's still better to click Trick Room. Yeah, because their team was so hyper offensive, and it's like if Trick Room goes up, they just completely fold. But we got saved by the fact it was not Sash NDD, and it was Choice Scarf NDD. I think if they also just brought out Flutter first, you could bring out Flutter, protect it. Because they also set up Psychic Terrain for me, right? So if you bring out your Flutter main first, you protect it to stall out Trick Room, and then you switch Flutter out into NDD. Like, my opponent's win con in that game is essentially to stall out my Trick Room, right? But by bringing NDD first, and then me just getting the knockout onto it, if Flutter came out, they like had fewer opportunities to protect. So I think if they had just brought out Flutter first, protect immediately, switch into NDD like I mentioned, sack the NDD, then bring Flutter back out, you stall out Trick Room, and then you just Shadow Ball me. Alright, we've got the 6 that Wolf Glick used to win the Charlotte Regional Championships, and I got to cast the finals of that, which was awesome. And this team actually just won the Liverpool Regional Championships as well. So, you've got things like Calm Mind, Grass Terra, Flutter Mane, Scarf Urshifu, Surging Strikes, U-Turn, Hyper Voice Farigiraf with Throat Spray as well as Protect, Swords Dance Ogerpon, Safety Goggles, Incin, and then AV Vrilla. So, into Farigiraf, Manual Taunt from Flutter is pretty nice. Getting Ogre to Terra would be really sweet. I think Scarf Urshifu in general can be fairly scary. Bolt with Terrain is really interesting. Heatran's pretty good into the Flutter and Cinderella Core as well as Farigiraf. Huh, a lot of things to think about here. We've got Covert Cloak on Thundurus, so I like leading it when our opponent has multiple Fake Out users. Like, I'm actually thinking about just Thundurus plus Leaves, honestly. If they set up Trick Room, we can actually utilize Heatran against them, which I think is really valuable. I'm not sure I love Flutter here into a matchup with Scarf Urshifu. And given that it's Water Urshifu, we can actually use Comfey because of Rocky Helmet. So, I think the main debate here is actually whether or not I'd want to bring Raging Bolt. But one of the things to think about in this matchup is just terrain, right? I could go for Electric Terrain, but they could just switch in Rillaboom and immediately get rid of it. So that's going to be a dynamic to think about in this battle. But I think Leaves can put in massive amounts of offensive pressure in this game. And I think resisting Surging Strikes is also quite nice. But obviously we have to worry about U-Turn. Okay, it's going to be Urshifu and Ogerpon. Huh. Well, this is interesting, because it is SD Ogerpon. I would personally U-turn into Leaves here. But the play I would like to make is to just go for Scary Face onto Urshifu. Terra this defensively. And Leaf Blade Urshifu as well. The best play they could make is hard switch Urshifu into Incineroar right now. But it's going to be Ogerpon switching. Okay, nice. They go into Farigiraf. Okay, that's smart. So we'll see if they go for the U-turn play now. If they end up clicking Surging Strikes into the Leaves, that'd be a really powerful play. But I think I would always U-turn into Leaves turn 1 here. So smart of them to block the priority. Nicely done. Yep, there's U-turn. Okay. Pretty good time to go into Incineroar right now. I think that would be a decent bet for them, but let's see what they decide to pivot in. Yeah, it is going to be Incin. Okay. So now it's interesting, right? Do you want to set up Trick Room? This also means you didn't bring Rillaboom, so once I click Electric Terrain, I will have it set up. But I'm not going to do very much damage this go around. So we've got the Covert Cloak here, which is quite nice. Heatran's an excellent switch in right now. I would guess you Fake Out into Iron Leaves. We don't necessarily need to set up Electric Terrain right now. I'm not getting any value out of it, so I'm actually happy to just go for damage here. Wall Bolt Storm. And switch into Comfey. Actually, I think I'd rather... Yeah, switching to Comfey is fine. I think our goal right now is to chip away at Incineroar. Incineroar Intimidate's pretty annoying, but if we clear it, I think Leaves can be a really effective late-game sweeper. So that was a very nice turn 1 by my opponent. Well done. Okay, they go for Fake Out onto Thundurus, though. We've got Covert Cloak, so we're going to ignore that, which is nice. Really good damage from Wall Bolt. We got a crit. Activates Berry here. Yep. And they just Hyper Voice. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so one of the things with this is now I can start healing up with Comfey. I can also set up the Electric Terrain, which I don't think is the worst idea. It's a shame. I could have stayed in with Leaves there and actually just click Close Combat, but didn't love the idea of that in the moment. Electric Terrain gives me an attack boost. Do I really need that right now? I'm not sure. I think this turn it's fine to Wild Bolt Storm and go for a Floral Healing. Photograph protects. Okay, nice. My dream scenario would be that they end up just going for Flare Blitz onto Comfey and then take so much damage from recoil. But I wouldn't be surprised if they opt for knockoff here instead. Because if Comfey faints, then I get the Leaves back in, and I can just go Electric Terrain and then Close Combat into Farigiraf, which would be awesome. But it's Flare Blitz into Thundurus. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, like, we have really nice healing and sustain right now with this. I'm happy to just click Wild Bolt again, and Floral Healing again. It's kind of a waiting room right now to get the Iron Leaves back in. Now, one of the downsides of going for that Terra earlier, though, is that I am extremely, extremely weak to Urshifu, so I gotta be careful about that, right? Because they can just Surging Strikes me in the end game. But been pretty lucky so far with these Wild Bolt Storms. Haven't missed any. It actually just knocks out Incineroar outright and paralyzes Farigiraf, so Comfey Thundurus is putting in so much work right now. Just lucky enough to hit all of these Wild Bolts. Okay, this is a slight change from the team. It's initially Psychic, but they've got Psychic Noise instead, which is fine. Alright. The healing has been massive for us, right? Especially because they're not targeting down the Comfey. So, Urshifu comes out. That's fine. I mean, I'm honestly happy to just keep clicking Wild Bolt Storm and Floral Healing. If you decide to Surging Strikes into Comfey, well, we've got Rocky Helmet on that. And if you target down the Thundurus, I don't think you knock us out, unless you have Helping Hand on Farigiraf here as well, and then Wild Bolt does so much damage to you. So, and if Urshifu is cleared here, I think the Leaves and Ogerpon just clean up this game. Sorry, the Leaves and the Thundurus clean up. Okay, Farigiraf just protects, yeah. I think, like, prioritization probably should have been on the Comfey in this game. But because they kind of ignored it, Comfey was able to heal us up so much. There are Surging Strikes. Let's see where it goes. Okay, into Thundurus. Yep, we should be able to take all 3 hits. 48 on that first one. 92 down to 48, so a little bit stronger there. Wild Bolt. Let's see if Urshifu dodges this one. Every Wild Bolt is connected, so feeling very lucky with that. This is actually an angle to Trick Room here, I think. You can't knock out both Pokemon. I'm gonna Wild Bolt and Trick Room. There's strikes again. Yep. I wonder if I went for Floral Healing, whether or not it would have healed up Thundurus enough. I'm not sure. Psychic Noise. Cool. Comfey survives. Critically does prevent me from healing, which is kind of funny, but Trick Room gets set up now, which is what we're looking for. With that, I am happy to just bring out Iron Leaves now. Okay. Like this, we can Leaf Blade into Urshifu and just Floral Healing. Oh, I can't heal anymore. Ha! That's actually such a funny counter move. I can't use anything. Leaf Blade and just switch Comfey out. Actually, instead of Leaf Blading, it should be Psyblade because it covers for the switch in into Ogerpon. But we'll pivot Comfey out. And I think Heatran against a Farigiraf and an Ogerpon should just win us the game. So we'll see if they pivot Urshifu out right now. Nope, they don't. There's Hyper Voice. Psyblade comes out. Cool. Urshifu faints. And now Heatran should just win, I think. We can just click Heat Wave a couple times and should be okay. Cool. Yeah, I think Thundurus and Comfey in that mid game was just incredibly clutch for us. Didn't miss any Wild Bolt Storms. We were able to heal back a ton. If they had just went for Psychic Noise onto Comfey earlier, I actually would have been in a ton of trouble, I think. But yeah. Okay, this game's actually not 100% over. But I think I should be able to get a burst amount of healing onto Heatran. I think Leaves has kind of served its purpose here, so I'm happy to just click Ally Switch in case they mess up their targeting, and then just go for Heat Wave. If I had Protect, I'd Protect Leaves in that spot. But yep, Hyper Voice should still just KO Leaves, but I should survive Ivy Cudgel and Heatran, bring out Comfey, and then Comfey just heals Heatran back up, and then I think 2 Heat Waves will pick up the double knockout here, but let's see. Could have gone for Magma Storm there. Worth considering to just try to secure the one-hit knockout. Great, Heatran survives. Comfey comes back out. What a close game this was, though. Wow. Margins were so thin. And I could still lose, right? Off misses right now, but I'm just going to go for Heat Wave and then Floral Healing onto Heatran. AV Heatran is the perfect counter into Farigiraf here, so that's really nice to have. I think the main turn I was worried about in this game was when I went for Trick Room. I was worried that Farigiraf would actually get a one-hit knockout onto Comfey, but fortunately enough, they did not. I actually survived with more HP than I expected in that position, so shoutouts to Comfey. Let's see. They did a good job of neutralizing Leaves, I think, in the early game, so that was well done by them. Ogerpon goes for Spiky Shield, which makes sense. It basically comes down to whether or not I hit these Heat Waves in the end, I think. Anyway, because Heat Wave should just secure a double knockout here, so it doesn't make too much of a difference, but they go for Psychic Noise, which makes sense. Okay. Comfey faints. Here's Heat Wave. Okay, Ogerpon protected. Nice, connects onto Farigiraf, that's a knockout. So now it's a 1v1. Don't think Earth Power gets the knockout. I'm not 100% confident, so I'd rather just take the 90% chance to guarantee the win with Heat Wave rather than lose on a damage roll here, since I just am not confident in Earth Power getting the knockout from that range. I feel like if it were 10% lower, I'd feel a lot more comfortable, but yeah. Anyway, I think Ogre here either hopes for the Heat Wave miss, or you try to get another Protect. Stall out Trick Room. But you need multiple one of those. So I'd probably just play towards the Heat Wave miss right now. 10% chance to win the game. But I think this game was interesting because we ended up actually setting up Trick Room. They do try to go for the double here, though, so they don't get it. And Heat Wave does not miss. Secures the knockout onto Ogerpon. Okay. This game was a little bit less about Iron Leaves, but it really showcased the value of Thundurus plus Comfey. That duo can be really annoying for teams to deal with, and it's deceptive, right? It doesn't seem like it's a very offensive combo, but it can just like slowly chip away with these disruptive Wild Bolt Storms and then get yourself to a point where then like Leaves can come out and put in immense amounts of work. But to me, I felt like this game was actually very much about Thundurus and Comfey. All right, we've got Archaladon Rain here. Archaladon, Urshifu, Flutter, Pelly, Amoonguss, Chimpao. So I featured a very similar team just with Baxcalibur recently. Archaladon can survive Life Orb close combat in terrain, which is a little bit tough. And they have Chimpao. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I struggle a lot against Chimpao. Normally it's like, okay, I bring Heatran, but they have Pelly Urshifu, which is scary. If I were them, I'd go Chimpao, Pelly, Urshifu, Archaladon probably. Leading Thundurus into Chimpao I think is really risky, is my learning. Is it crazy to want to go with Comfey? I might still bring Thundurus, but in the back. I think this is not a Heatran game. Like, I'm thinking... Sash on Flutter is helpful here. But I want Thundurus. And I want Leaves, too. Okay, Comfey Bolt. Leaves, Flutter. I'm actually going to drop Thundurus. I don't know if that's the right decision, but we're going to make it. The reason I'm dropping Thundurus is because I think Sash Flutter is very, very good in this matchup. It gives me a better time against Chimpao. You can survive a Steel type attack from Archaladon. Alright, Chimpao Urshifu. This is not bad at all. So, I'm hoping that my opponent's a little spooked out right now, right? You're up against... I could Trick Room with Comfey is the thing. The play I actually want to make is Draining Kiss, Terra, Thunderclap, Chimpao. Because Urshifu is in a really bad spot, right? What you could do if you're my opponent, though, is... I also don't know if I actually need a Terra in order to accomplish this knockout. Probably don't, honestly. I really want to double up onto this. Because I think, like, you should be very worried about Thunderclap onto this. But I think their play is protect Chimpao, switch Urshifu out into, like, Amoonguss. I'm going to just try to snipe down Chimpao here. That means Urshifu's Terroring. Maybe it's into Poison Terra. If it's water, that'll be... Okay, Grass. That makes a lot of sense. Ooh, Grass Terra protect Chimpao here is a very safe play by them. Nah. I could have Draco'd. Or Trick Roomed. They're just going to Strikes, right? Oh, that's the worst defensive Terra to run into on Urshifu. Nicely done by my opponent. Nicely done. Oh, I actually survived this. And with Rocky Helmet, actually, maybe it's not too bad. Because I can just Synthesis next turn. Okay. I mean, the upside of them being Grass Terra is you're not Water Terra, so you don't actually get the knockout, but... Huh. This could Sucker Punch now. I do like Draining Kiss onto it. You already Terra'd. You have Iron Leaves and Flutter in the back. Alright, I'm gonna go Draining Kiss Protect. Yeah, they switch. It's okay, but not ideal. Amoonguss comes in. Yeah, that's not a great turn, but let's see. You eat up 2 more Rocky Helmet hits. So, I mean, all things considered, this Comfey was actually really nice into Urshifu. This grants me a free switch in now. I think I have to go into Iron Leaves, right? Which is a fine switch. The thing about Leaves, though, is that Psyblade is so obvious here, so I think Amoonguss pivoting out into Chien-Pao makes so much sense. This is a big turn. I mean, I would definitely switch Amoonguss out into Chien-Pao or just protect it right now. Wow, they didn't switch? Well done. Okay. I get punished for that heavily. I made a read and it did not pay off. I really did prioritize breaking Focus Sash here, because Chien-Pao is a big problem for me. Spore, I presume. Oh, that's also really bad. Nicely done. That's a really good call. That's a risky play to make, right? But it pays off heavily for them, so well done. At least I don't get spored, but now you just bring Chien-Pao back out. Yeah. Oh, that's Flutter. Maybe still winnable. I wonder if I just Psyblade there, how different this game looks, but I think, like, I showed Chien-Pao so much respect in this game, and my opponent really was able to leverage that to their advantage, which was nicely done by them. Yeah, they just weren't scared of that Psyblade. It's really impressive. I don't regret making that play, though. I think a lot of players would just switch into Chien-Pao there. I think, though, it was worth considering Fire Tearing Iron Leaves. But I guess they might have just clicked Searching Strikes into that slot. It's still potentially winnable. Is it? They're just going to Spore me. I have Taunt, so I can taunt the Spore. I can Terra. I think I see the vision. Yeah, so it's hope that they Spore again right now. Taunt shuts them down. Rising Voltage puts you in KO range. Yeah, I wonder how different this game looks if I try to not make that prediction and just go for the obvious target onto Amoonguss. Our Flutter moves first, which is a good sign as well. Yep, they Dazzle. Ah, not a great time to get crit. Okay. That worked. Now we go for the double knockout. Gleam, Draco. My dream scenario would be they switch Amoonguss out into Chien-Pao, but they should definitely not do that. That crit may have been a game-winning crit for my opponent. Because the problem is, it puts me in Sucker Punch KO range, which is a really big issue. Without it, I don't think we'd be in KO range from it. This game might just come down to reads about Sucker Punch. If I can correctly predict who Chien-Pao is Sucker Punching, I can win. We speed tie with Flutter too? Oh my gosh. They're running Timid Max Speed. Wow. Man, what are the odds of that? Alright, well, then we definitely have no chance. And yeah, I think without that crit, then I could at least survive the double gleam and then get a knockout, but this will secure the win for my opponent for sure. Oof, wow. Yeah, there were a lot of different things that like make this substantially trickier for me. Grass Terra Urshifu instead of Water Terra Urshifu, means that you have a much better matchup into the Raging Bolt. You also ended up actually having max speed Flutter. Like, my hope in this endgame was I get a double knockout with Dazzling Gleam, Draco Meteor, and then it's Chien-Pao against Raging Bolt and Flutter main, and you have to make the correct Sucker Punch play, basically, right? Since Flutter is max speed as well. And we have Thunderclap pressure. If you end up targeting one slot incorrectly, I protect and I attack with the other, I end up winning the game. But now I just lose. I can't believe they were max speed as well. It's not shocking, I guess, but the fact that they were max speed and ended up winning the speed tie, just to take away any chance of winning there. Oh, and they were Life Orb, so they weren't sashed. Wow. Wow. Okay. I guess the main problem would have been our Raging Bolt would have been at -2 special attack, right? But it still should be a 2-hit knockout onto the Chien-Pao. But they protected Chien-Pao really, really well. Like, I think sometimes people would just be aggressive with it. I don't regret trying to play aggressively with Comfey. But it's interesting. I wonder how differently this game looks if I just make a read and, like, Draco Meteor Urshifu outright on turn 1, right? Draining Kiss, Chien-Pao, Terra, the Raging Bolt, and just Draco Urshifu. The problem with that play is they could just switch Urshifu out into Flutter, for example, and that could be really scary. But, yeah, nicely executed by my opponent. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one, so thank you so much as always for watching. It's really, really fun to try out a team with Iron Leaves, and I think manual terrain is a very underplayed strategy. Hopefully this episode showcased the value of it, both with the Iron Leaves as well as the Raging Bolt. So yeah, thanks as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy, and I'll see you all next time. Alright, peace.